So I was reading what some of you guys were saying about you guys like the Minecraft in the background. Now I did play a little bit after I recorded the video. You can see that I did go through the map a bit. I just ran through a little here. I did level up my Beldum. I was, grinding out the battles because I was spending so much time just like battling instead of actually like, doing anything worth an action. So also when I was looting around the places, there's a temple somewhere. There's a temple somewhere over here. I don't remember where exactly I came from, but in the temple, I end up finding these items here. Look at this relic crown, and it just says it could just be sold. Like that's it. There's no safety goggles. I mean, I don't really see that being practical in Minecraft though. And look at this. Watch this. I could sell this for that much gold. Gold. Talking about. I could sell all this stuff. So it looks like I got some good ways to get some money here finally. But I think I want to save this off for some technical machines or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to need it later, but I'm definitely going to buy myself some extra Pokeballs and stuff like that. But anyway, someone left a comment a few videos ago and they wanted me to talk about sacrifices. And oh yeah, I figured out how to use the mini map mod, so I'm able to actually figure out where my house is so I don't get lost. Okay, so yeah, someone wanted me to talk about sacrifices and getting rid of certain people that have been in their life that sort of holds them back. And see, the thing about this is when you give up other people or you give up the companionship or you start giving up material possessions, you start to realize that you've been so attached to something that wasn't really useful for you. And not everything, everything on this planet, in a sense, everything sort of works in a cycle. Everything is sort of give and take. That's why I meant everything works in a cycle because something must give for something to get. There's a saying that goes, and it sounds very negative. It's like, if nobody's using you, then you're useless. If no one's using you, you're useless. And again, that could be sounding very negative because you don't want to be used per se, right? Unless some other thing is going on with you. But some things are not meant to be in the cycle. You already have your own thing going on here. It's not important or worthy of being in this process of yours, this process of yours of growing, or this process of introspection, or this process of even learning how to be more courageous and having a self-esteem. Because at times we end up losing our self-esteem because we're hanging on to other people who drag down that self-esteem. It happens all the time. It's an unfortunate feeling because a lot of the times these people who are doing this, they can be your parents and they can be somebody who you say you love like a close friend, or even sometimes it could just be a relationship too. But most of the times it happens because of parents. And I actually want to show you, look, I actually pimped out my room a little bit. I forgot to mention that too. Uh, you know, it works. It works. I got some stuff I picked up from the chest here. I don't really know what this is for. I didn't Google it yet, but I did find some extra loot. A lot of books. Bed. I got my first diamond. I found it off of a Pokemon, so I didn't really get to mine that far down. I got a painting, some bookshelves. I did try to set up a mine though. Didn't work out too well. There's water under here, of course, and I did dig a little bit. There was coal here. That's why there's like this open. Oh, I know there's more coal here. I'm gonna have to mine that later. But more water. Maybe I'm thinking about finding another way to dig myself all the way down, and then I'm gonna probably build like a whole mining system because remember I'm trying to beat the. What is this? Oh, this is some cheese, bro. This has happened to me so many times. I've been jumped inside of my house by some Houndour or something. Watch, he's gonna kill me too. I'm not even gonna. Oh my goodness, here we go. Oh, he roared. Okay, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. A lot of times, these people who you have to sacrifice, you don't really always have the option to sacrifice. I don't want to say just to sacrifice them, right? It sounds crazy. You don't always have the option to just move away from them until maybe the right time. So let's just jump on like a specific topic though. So let's talk about relationships, not just romantic, but we're talking about like family too. Sometimes you end up in a situation where, you know, your family is the one who drags you down. You may be young watching this video. and you don't have the ability to move away from your parents yet. You don't have the financial income. You don't have anything like that. I mean, nothing's stopping you from, getting a job, being underage, and then figuring out like, okay, let me just save some money so when it's time that I'm able to actually move out, I could be prepared and ready for that. I mean, unless something really is stopping you from getting a job. But sometimes these sacrifices, we got to understand. I want to jump to that later, because sometimes we know that we have something that we need to sacrifice to eliminate from our lives, yet at the same time, we don't put any power to make that change. We don't do anything about that. Like, yeah, I know personally I have some negative habits, and uh or some negative people in my life, and yet I don't put enough willpower or effort to necessarily distance myself from them. Even when I was growing older, like I always talk about on this channel, I haven't had the best relationship with my father, because he's doesn't understand boundaries. He's just aggravating. He's just an aggravating person. He's from the Caribbean, so he acts extra aggravating. You know what I'm saying? All those West Indies, they be acting aggravating with their parents. Okay, I'm not, listen, no shade. Okay, I'm just saying, I see it all the time with other people too. West Indian parents are just out of control sometimes. They don't understand anything besides their own values and their culture that they grew up with. So my father, he's like that, and again, this has aggravated a lot of people in my family. It's aggravated my mom. It's aggravated my what happened? Minecraft ran to a prom. The following, what, bruh? Okay, did I saw it said it saved, right? All right, this is interesting. Okay, I gotta load everything. Oh my goodness, I thought I lost my life after that battle. That was like some Yu-Gi-Oh Shadow Realm type thing. Can you imagine? Let me not lose a battle again. Hopefully it doesn't crash my game, because I didn't like that. That was really weird. That's the first time I ever seen that while I've been playing this playthrough so far. So, like, going back about my father, like, that's just how he is, and I can't try to change it. I try to, it, I can't keep trying to do it, because he is how he is. And that's what I'm saying, where you just got to distance yourself from people who aren't going to even put the effort into change. It makes an unhealthy environment. Also, don't get this twisted, by the way, because some people, this is also a self-awareness thing too. Some people act like it's always other people who are the problem, when oftentimes it could be them who are the problem themselves, and they're just blaming everything else around them. Okay, sometimes that creates a cycle of never being truly happy with anything around you. Okay, but if people are generally actually negative around you for just no reason, because it happens, or maybe somebody does make you a negative person, right? It can be the source of a lot of problems. It could be the source of stress. It could be the source of a lot of discomfort in your life, and then it destroys your mental health. You can't always run away from the people that uh, make you very unhappy in life, because sometimes you're just trapped in a situation like that. Like, you may have a job where you're stuck in that sort of situation. Like, you can't, what are you gonna do, just quit your job because one person annoyed you? I mean, very much possible, very much possible, but at the same time, now you're just out of a job because of like one simple situation. When I was working, before I was starting running my business and stuff like that, there were some people who I felt like quitting the whole thing just because I knew they were protected by people higher up in the job, in the hierarchy at my job. Like, what I would do, I just avoided them and just did my work. Yeah, the work environment felt a little bit unhealthy, because a little bit toxic, because now we have coworkers not talking to each other, like me and somebody else, we're not rocking. But at the same time, what it did show me was that uh everything is still doable. Look at these little thingies here. What is this about? I gotta find another Pokemon to catch, because I don't know what was the point, but I should have bought potions. I knew I was forgetting something. Well, all that gold, I should have bought potions. But maybe we could find another desert temple. If we could find something like that, I could show you guys how. What's that thing called? I don't know. Is it, maybe I'm using the wrong term. In Minecraft, there's like these. I'm gonna say desert temple. Okay, I may be wrong. There's like these buildings that spawn inside the desert. They look like temples, and once you go inside, if you break down the floor, you fall down, and there's like a pressure plate with TNT. I think it is probably called the Desert Temple. But yeah, I found it in one of those loot boxes. So I'm going to actually keep looking for some more of those, because as you can see from the map, I, yo, there's like, Everywhere is desert here. I try to go over here. There's no Pokemon over here that I need. Remember, I need Psychic Pokemon. Now, as far as I'm concerned, because I did play Pixelmon before, you could, that Corphish looks huge, but I'm going to battle it anyway. I need some. I remember there was a lot of Psychic Pokemon in the end. Now, to get to the end, obviously, you need to find the Nether, not the Nether portal, the end portal. If I could find myself an Abra, that would be good for me, because then I can use the teleport spell. I'm trying to not, like, I could do this, by the way. I could teleport back to my home, because I'm an admin on, obviously, I'm single player, so I could do this on my own server. But I don't like doing that, because it just, what's the point of traveling if I'm just going to teleport all the way back? It's like, it kills the mood. It's like, you ever play Skyrim, or like Fallout, or any game like that, and you fast travel? It's like, man, that's cheap, kinda, you know? Like, you're gonna miss out on so many random events that happen while you're traveling. And it's like, I don't want to miss out on random things I see. Maybe I might find some cool looking Pokemon, or something, or a trainer may appear, anything like that. Whose man's is this? Another, where are these fishermen? Just, why are there fisher? Look at this. Oh, something's like breaking my game. I don't understand. I mean, I'm gonna look at the logs, actually. All right, I'm gonna try again. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna be very upset. I think I'm just gonna have to live with it, honestly, because I did promise to beat Minecraft. So let me just, it doesn't happen like every second, but oh my goodness, and I just get jumped right when I get in game. So anyway, you know, sometimes relocating to a more positive environment or a positive community is much better, and much better for your mental space, or maybe it could help your productivity. Uh, but that's a decision you have to make. Not everyone is ready to make that decision to just quit their job. You can't just like walk out half the time, especially when you have bills to pay. And the thing about making sacrifices too. So let's like going back to like the full thing about relationships here. So when we talk about like family members, family, sometimes people, you know what's crazy? People act like they want the best for you when truly they're being negative for you. And like, yeah, they like, family members will do that the most, because what they try to do, which I think is a terrible habit, and going back to my father, he does this. He tries to live through me. He tries to act like he wants me to be him. Like, if he was me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference between being a parent, right, and being a parental figure where you can inspire, or you can motivate your child to be a certain way, or grow or become better and do this and that, or give them or lead them in the right direction. There's a difference between that versus just trying to be somebody, trying to make someone live through the ways that you want to live through. And what's crazy, a lot of parents, we don't live in the same time period anymore as well. Some people are so disconnected from that. Not everyone responds the same anymore. And oftentimes, when you try to live through other people, they never get a sense of their own individuality. And once you lose your own individuality, that's when you lose your self-esteem. And then parents wonder why, like, their kid is like depressed or something, like why they have no self-esteem, why they are so dependent and they can't handle themselves. But they'll be like, when I was 18, I moved out. Well, guess what? This is what happens when you start trying to live through your child. They don't have their own individuality, where they can't make their own decisions themselves, because they're very trapped on something here. And this is a cycle that's going to keep on happening over and over again. A lot of us don't really realize until later on, like, damn, man, I didn't recognize, but my parents are actually like, they're the reason why I don't have good self-esteem. Like, they're the reason why I can't make decisions for myself, or I don't feel like I can do things the right way. Like, sometimes we don't really recognize that until much later. And that's the sad part about it all. And once later on, people start to recognize, like, oh, people say like this generation is softer. I mean, when you have a bunch of people who can't really, who have grown adults trying to live through them, I mean, what do you expect? You expect them to be tough because they have, a bunch of parents trying to live through them? Of course the generation is going to be softer. I mean, that's what it is. Like, seriously, that's what it is. Does that make sense? I hopefully it does. But listen, I can't tell people how to, everyone's parenting style is different. I can't tell you like, you know, what's going on with your current family situation, if that's right or wrong, because you have your own personality as well. I mean, people like I said, people respond differently to many different things. So when you want to make a sacrifice to somebody, we have to be very clear on the impact of making the sacrifice. A lot of times making a sacrifice starts off as negative. You start feeling a certain way because whatever that thing is, and like I said, it doesn't even have to be a person, it could just be like a habit that you have. You start feeling detachment from it. You start feeling like this is something that you can't go without. But then later on, and I'm sure you guys have all experienced this before, when you finally detach from something, you start to feel more or less uh, happy because time truly does heal it. You end up realizing like, wow, uh, maybe I can be more disciplined about myself. Maybe it's not that hard to make a sacrifice. Maybe it's not that hard to get rid of certain people or to get rid of certain things. Yo, I've been doing this. It happened unintentionally, but I never really been a part of this community because I always talked about, like, I always mentioned it. Oh, look at this, a good level up here. I always talked about it in some videos about how like just do what you want to do. But like, for example, the no fap thing, right? Yo, ever since I got out of the ward, I haven't been, I just haven't been doing it. You know, I haven't watched any of that stuff. I'm not feeling any sort of difference, by the way. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. It's happened naturally, but then again, I'm on medication, so I mean that's, I don't know how am I supposed to really feel since things are altered in a sense. But I will say that uh, I realized that I've saved a lot more time, and this is a new village here. This is good here. I saved a lot more time than usual because sometimes, you know, if I'm bored, I'll just go spank it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm bored, I'll just go watch something, or you know, I'm a guy, so you know naturally, and I'm not saying this only happens with guys, but girls it happens too. You know, like naturally, I I get away, so I wanna watch something. You feel me? But not anymore. Not anymore. I don't really have the urge anymore, and I don't see myself getting the urge back again. Wasn't I talking about this last video? What kind of gym leaders are these? Who's the shopkeeper? Hopefully they have like selling milk. They don't have potions, but they have milk. I don't even want to buy that stuff. If I get the healing powder and stuff like that, doesn't that make my team dislike me or something? It like lowers the happiness down. And I found the guy with some TM, so this is exactly what I need here. Uh, it doesn't like anything I could take right here though. Uh, I don't see myself really use maybe magic. Yeah, I really want to find a gym leader because I remember from playing this there are like a bunch of them. I don't know if that's gonna be one of my goals, but I mean, let's keep traveling. Maybe I'll find something useful. Yeah, so these sort of you know, my opinion about that topic though, about like no fap and stuff. I always said just listen, do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Like if you feel like, I mean, if you're using it to procrastinate, then you know whatever. But there's so many other things you can do during your time period than you know sit there spanking the monkey the whole time. But you know, again, if that makes you happy and you don't feel like it's like, do you even truly care about being in relationships or self improvement like that? I mean, I think you should, but at the same time, you know, if that's something that releases a lot of tension and stress for you, then I ain't gonna tell you like, yo, you're wrong or like you're messed up or something like that. Just again, do whatever. But since I've been away from it, I haven't really noticed any changes. But besides the fact that I'm just not doing it. Okay, maybe there's some changes that I'm not noticing. That's very much possible. Okay, you know, that's just again very much possible. I become a little bit more irritated, I guess, but I don't know if that's the see. It's hard for me to make judgment like that. I'm not like completely clear minded at the moment. Why is this here? Even though I don't think I'll have any use for the enchanted items, I think it's just good to have still. I have so many item frames. Remember I said I only collect psychic Pokemon? You know, it would, you can actually in Pixelmon, you can actually mount certain Pokemon and they count as like a horse, or You know, you can look at the Growlithe right there. They count as a horse, or uh, and they move pretty fast. They move faster than horses. Sometimes, depending on the Pokemon, if you have a Pokemon that could fly, and you can mount and fly, it's pretty fast. There's a thing about like dealing with people that I always felt was important for me to always consider whenever I feel like I need to cut loose somebody. And you know, sometimes, you know, I add fairness in my videos, because somebody was telling me about this, or somebody was writing this in the comment section, I think to like a few videos ago. They're like, I'm not calling you out, listen, I'm not flaming you or anything. If I can't find the comment, I won't post on the screen. But he was like, I sometimes wonder if you even want to be in relationships. And I've been in a relationship for quite a while now, so I don't know if you mean it like that. But if you talk about like building like relationships in terms of like friendships and stuff, I've never, even for years, I've never been that type of person. I've never wanted to like want to have like a lot of friends. I feel like having friends is a chore. I feel like socialization is like very tolling to me. So I just I don't know. It's just not something I really care about like that. But when I actually do make friends, and when I do cut people off, it's usually because of the fact that, you know, uh, sometimes I feel like the friend is overwhelming me. I feel like when I said that not only socialization tires me, but I feel like sometimes having a lot of friends can be very tolling. At the same time, you know, if that friend is too tolling, I just don't want to be around you anymore. And you know, is that a problem? That you can say that's a problem with me, and you can also say that's a problem with you know, do I need to make a sacrifice to make my life better because of that? I mean, see, those are that's what makes that specific part of this topic very hard to deal with. Like some people say, like, "Oh, I'm making a sacrifice to get rid of somebody just because they have their own mental situations," or I don't want to say problems, because like I don't wouldn't really consider it a complete mental problem. I think it's just like a situation where everyone's just different, you know, and yeah, like, you know, I don't want to hurt people, so I may distance myself. I may make the sacrifice to cut somebody off because, hey, I just know how I am and I don't want to hurt you. Okay? Look at this Groudon spawned in a. Yeah, just casually say that. Yeah, look at that. This Groudon just casually spawning in the desert biome. I'm pretty sure he's somewhere around here. I'm not going to fight him. I'll tell you that. I'm not. You're going to kill me. Just gonna get rid of all this stuff here while I'm at it. And yeah, so when you got to really think about it like that, not everything that's related to like relationships always has to be like somebody is not somebody wants to have a lot of friends. I'm not the type of person to want to have a lot of friends. This part of my life right now, the past like year or so, I've had the most amount of friends I've been able to maintain at the same time without like bugging out. And I think because I have and I'm hanging out with people who sort of just understand me a little bit more, who had a better time learning about me and understanding that I do have my own boundaries and tolerances. So that's why they're much easier for me to maintain. Like I don't feel like it's a chore for me to be around them. So, and okay, but see, this also brings to this topic too about this, what's going on in this episode so far. Like sometimes if you feel some people are a chore to be around, maybe you do need to make the sacrifice. How you shouldn't have a friend that feels like a chore, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's the thing. Should you really have a friend that's a chore? That's when I feel like you have to make the sacrifice. Like having a friend around you that feels like a chore shouldn't feel that way. Unless and the only circumstance I could say otherwise is, let's say hypothetically that, yo, this friend of yours who feels like a chore right now has not always felt like a chore. Maybe they're just going through something so they feel this way right now. And you know, having friendships and having relationships is part of life, okay? You know, not everyone gets as much relationships or as much friendships as other people. So not everyone gets the experience to make as much as have the experience to get comfortable around other people as other people have been able to do so. But we have to think about, even with the short amount of friendships or relationships you may have been in, or if you have been in any relationships really, you can even look at it from an outsider's perspective. When you see a relationship or a friendship of any kind create harmful effects to you, it's going to be hard to cut them off. But the sacrifice may be needed because it opens the door for maybe somebody more important to take up your time. Someone who's less stressful, if that makes sense. When I was talking about how like the friends I have now, it's easier for me to be around, it's because we have like a stronger and healthier bond. And I wasn't always the type of person who always you know what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna criticize myself for this too, because I feel like a lot of times all these friends I'm talking about that I've made now this past year, they've been in real life. Making friends on the internet doesn't always guarantee a healthy anything healthy. Okay, maybe that's the problem. You know, maybe I just gotta make friends in real life more often, because online friends, y'all be a pain. But at the same time, I'm staying around these online friends who happen to be a pain. That's my decision though. I be making those decisions for some reason. Okay, maybe still I'm not saying everybody online is like crazy or something, but hey, you know, hey, this doesn't sound like an amazing revelation, but yeah, I mean, what is this? Someone walked into my house named Flittle. So sus. Oh, is this a psychic Pokemon? How do you use Psybeam? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait, hold on. Hold on, cuh. I've never seen this Pokemon before. This must be a new generation thingy. At least a generation that I'm not familiar with. I'm about to capture this thing. I've never seen this before. Oh, Aku about to catch his first Pokemon? I'm going to catch him with the Pokeball. We're going to save the Ultra Balls for something else. I can't even see. Someone just rocked it. Someone's just in my house, bro. I see the Pokeball. Oh, they broke free. Okay, well, if I hit him again, they're going to die. Please don't make me waste an Ultra Ball on you. Look at this camera. How do I can return the battle here? Oh, I got it! Damn, I don't remember the keybinds to this thing, man. That opens up my Pokédex. What's the keybinds again? Is it E? Oh, okay, E. Let's see. It is Psychic. This looks interesting. It looks like it could... looks like it could fly at one point, I guess. Speed is low, though. That seems a little bit odd for a Pokemon that's... Maybe I should catch another one. I'm going to catch another one. I saw another one just, like, roam past here a second ago. Fly later on. I checked out their evolution a little bit. It is Psychic, but I didn't see if they can actually do it. Okay, let's check this one out here. Speed. Ah, look at that. Okay, but see, here's the issue here. You know what? I am okay with that. It's fast, though. It's fast. So, going back, since I've been busy catching this Pokemon over here. Not this one right here, but you saw what just happened. The way I cut off people, though, like, I don't think it's always been the healthy way, or the most healthy possible way in the past. I think sometimes I'll do it, like, impulsively because I'm, like, upset with myself or something like that. And I'm just being honest about that, too. So I just haven't been the best with that. And, you know, I feel like I've hurt a lot of people in the past because one day I'm just here, next day I just disappear, you know. And I've really worked on that a lot, so I don't just do that anymore. But... hey, I feel like I've heard a lot of people doing that before. But something I do now, before I impulsively start moving around and start just cutting people off that quickly, is I think about the impact, or I put everything on the calculator. I've used this analogy before, but like put the situation in a calculator. Like all the positives of being around somebody versus all the negatives, right? Add them up. If someone has 2 positives but 3 negatives, the outcome will be a negative number because there's 3 negatives and 2 positives. Therefore, somebody is more negative than positive for you. The calculator tells you that, and as a result, it's probably best that you detach from this person. Now, it doesn't mean you have to fight with this person. When you do the calculator thing, you at least can identify what the issues are. Because how are you going to put in the calculator something negative if you can't identify what the issues are? So, oh, this looks crazy. I need some wood. Hey, pause. You know what I'm saying? Pause on that. Pause. But you gotta identify it. And once I see the little things that maybe are really too negative, that's when I decide, okay, well, listen, I gotta tell this person that, or maybe I'll just start getting distant. I won't like talk to this person as much or something like that. Which, you know, when I'm talking about like the negatives, some things can be fixed though, you know. some things, not everyone, nobody's perfect. A lot of people have negative things about them. You probably hear from my videos, I got a lot of negative things about me too. And you probably think about yourself, you have a lot of negative things about yourself. And how much is tolerable before it becomes a negative impact to somebody else? Okay? So, when I say like sometimes I feel like I could be a very jealous and possessive friend. Like, some people don't bother. Okay, here's a good example too, because this one applies to me personally. I don't mind clingy people, but some people say that they mind that. Okay, doesn't bother me. Now, it doesn't put a negative impact in my head, but it will for other people. They feel like, so a lot of people don't like being smothered. A lot of people don't like having their space invaded like that. I don't care as much as long as you don't get in the way of my work. Okay, if I'm working on something and then you're being clingy, that's gonna like trigger me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about it. I do have my boundaries still about that clinginess stuff, but if that's not accepted or that's violated, and I constantly have to find myself in turmoil because of this, then that is something I would put in the calculator as like, hey, I got to get rid of this person, or hey, this person is doing this negative thing to me, and even if I talk to them about it, I know it's not going to help, then I got to do something about that as well. And that's the thing. How many times can you talk to certain people about certain things and see the impact? I don't know why I keep dropping stuff and then just putting it out there anyway. Certain things are, and it's about how you communicate it too. Somebody was just telling me the other day, like they got out of a relationship with somebody. They were telling me on Instagram. I thought he really liked this girl who he was talking to, but eventually things got distant between them because, naturally the honeymoon phase ends and he didn't communicate it properly. That's how he feels. And even though the relationship ended, that's how he's judging himself about it too. He said he feels like he should have just maybe shown himself to be less angry, perhaps, not be so frustrated all the time or show that much frustration with the fact that she's not around as much. That works out too. You gotta sit there and you gotta make a plan on how you're gonna approach somebody, and don't derail from the plan, because there have been plenty of times where I've tried to take my own advice with this, but even though I'm out here, like, I'm creating a plan, like I'm thinking about, okay, here's how I'm gonna talk to this person, here's how I'm gonna approach this situation so things can get better between us, or here's how I'm gonna express how I feel about this current situation. Even though I'll do that, I won't stick to it because I'll probably get too frustrated talking to this person because I didn't like how they responded to what I said that bothered me. That's a possible thing as well that we need to work on, And so when I'm talking about developing a plan, think about how you're going to respond to things. If I know how this person is going to react, so like if somebody, I say I have to make a sacrifice right now. Like, let's say somebody I got to cut somebody off from my life, right? If I know them enough and I know how they're going to react to certain things, I got to think about that. I got to think about, well, listen, is it even worth talking to this person about it? For real, is it truly worth talking to this person about this sort of issue? Because if I know they're not going to react positively, or they're going to react a certain way where it's like, okay, they're going to come off aggressive, or they're going to be really rude, or they're going to say something that's really hurtful to me, then is there even a point of communicating it to them? Or like, maybe you should still communicate, right? But in the sense where communicate, but maybe don't make it a conversation. Maybe that makes sense, Like, okay, I'll tell you how I feel, and maybe I'll give them an opportunity to speak too, and then after that, just be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? All right, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel, and that's it. We don't need to go back and forth about this. And making a sacrifice is a step-by-step process. So it's worth noting that, like, not every sacrifice is obviously the same. Sometimes certain sacrifices, look, bro, what are you running up to me like this? Certain sacrifices require more time to develop. Literally, sometimes you may need to seek advice. Sometimes you may need to think about, like, okay, well, if something is such a big detriment to my life, or a big part of my life, that I have to make a sacrifice because they're not good for my mental health and they're not good for me in general, maybe I need to plan this out more. Like, Just because you feel a certain way right now about somebody or something doesn't mean you have to react to it immediately. If that makes sense. Just give it some time, see how it works out, see how this plan may work out, and then it might be smooth sailing. I think it's always better to be calculated by something like this, you know? Once you start seeing the changes for this, then that's how things start getting better. So like me personally, when I have to cut off people, that's what I tend to do. I tend to develop a plan with it. I'm not going to be like, not like a plan where it's like some secret mysterious plan where I'm just going to like, okay, here's how I'm going to vanish from this person. No, it's usually like, hey, I'm going to have to approach this person first because I want to ghost people because I've been ghosted before and I've ghosted people in the past. And I understand how it hurts people and I've been hurt by getting ghosted too. So I'm trying to avoid doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? But what I'll do is I'll just say like, okay, I'm going to, oh, I'll write notes. I'll write on like I'll write like on like a notes app, or I'll write on like my computer like a note file or something like that, and I'll write exactly what I want to say. I'll write like a paragraph or something, and then I'll revise it several times, and if it's appropriate, then I'll send it to the person. Or sometimes, listen, sometimes it's not even appropriate because I'm frustrated while doing it and I want to send it so badly. But you know, I think I've had better results cutting people off just by writing these notes and writing this long paragraph about how I feel about something, about how someone makes me feel. But you know, see, this is what's so great about making a plan like that and preparing. There have been times where I've written those long paragraphs and I shared how I felt, and I didn't come off like I was angry. I didn't come off like I was like I came off like I was hurt because I was hurt. That's why I had to cut this person off. I'm hurt. I'm upset about something. But they read it. They read what I wrote and thought, "Wow, I really hurt. I really hurt Andre." And then they decided to put the effort in to make a change or something, or we decided to have a conversation and it was all compromised. So what I'm trying to say is, not everything that you feel needs to be a sacrifice truly needs to be that way. Sometimes all it takes is just a conversation. And starting a conversation can be very hard, obviously, especially when there's a lot of emotion involved, especially when you have a lot to say. But such a simple act, but you see what I'm talking about. It's when you organize something and you develop a plan and you take steps with that plan. You don't need to send how you feel immediately. Write down some notes, revise the notes step by step. You start seeing like, hey, oh, maybe I didn't need to truly sacrifice this person. It was a misunderstanding. 10-minute conversation. And if need be, if you have somebody else who knows about this situation, which, you know, I personally don't like when other people know about my business like that. Especially, I'll say, like, in my videos, I'll obviously say, like, what's going on with somebody, but I won't put, like, the details, or, like, I won't mention someone's name, or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do that intentionally, but I wouldn't want to get somebody else involved where I'll be like, okay, guys, look, in today's episode of the Aku Anime, I'm going to show you guys a paragraph now I'm going to write to somebody. Like, wild. You know what I'm saying? That's, see, I feel like there's a certain line you don't cross with certain things like that. And if you are the type of person to, you know, gossip or get other people involved in that sense, you know, I would see how they feel about your answer as well, about your paragraph or what you want to send. Maybe they'll find something that you may have said insensitively. Maybe they'll read it and they'll be like, well, you know, I don't think you're saying I think the way you're saying that is wrong, dude. I don't think you're saying that. I think you may be wrong in how you're approaching the situation. That could help, but you know, you're your biggest critique, and you're also biggest fan at the same time. So just be considerate, because when I'm talking about like these long paragraphs, imagine just like somebody just sent. I think about this when I send these paragraphs. I think about, okay, someone just sent me a long paragraph. Like, I could be doing anything. I'm expected to read this long paragraph about how someone feels about me right now. Okay? Time and place. Time and place. I can't expect a response immediately, but, you know, I'll usually send the paragraph when it's the right time to send the paragraph. Otherwise, you know, you know, it's just, it becomes an issue in that sense. So with that being said, and just to end up on that note before I end today's episode of the Aku Anime, before we watch the sun bleed and it's our time to go out, I feel like if you have the need to make a sacrifice, it doesn't always have to be that way. It can also be a time for you to just sit back, identify if this person really needs to be here in your life, identify the positives and the negatives. Don't just think about the negatives. People always provide both at the same time. They always provide both. Okay? If it's hard for you to find the positives, then maybe you do need more time. Like, because even with parents, like I said a few things about how I don't have a good relationship with my father. I could say a lot of positive things too. I'm just not saying it. But a lot of the negatives outweigh the positives with him. So that's why it's hard for me to say that. But I can think of positive things. Okay? I can think of positive things. And how I handled my situation with my father and the calculator analogy, I have my own way of dealing with it now. And we have our own way of dealing with certain things like this. For you, though, and trust me, I tried the conversation method. But for you, your situation is obviously, or your situations can be obviously different than mine. Some people are more understanding than others. Some people are able to break out of their habits because they care about somebody. Some people are able to set boundaries like that. I have a few friends that I've created boundaries with because I've expressed to them that something didn't make me feel comfortable. That's just what it is. A friend of mine that I've known for years, I don't think I would have been his friend if we never had a 5-minute conversation like we did a few years ago. One time we were arguing and I said something that crossed the line. I was very mean to him about something, and he came to me months later and he told me, "Hey, Andre, I didn't like what you said to me. I didn't like how you said that. It made me very upset." And ever since then, this was years ago, ever since then, I bite my tongue. I know, hey, if I say certain things or I speak to him a certain way, he's not going to be very happy about it. So I have to be more careful with how I speak to it because he's very sensitive about different approaches. And there's nothing wrong with that. If he wasn't honest and transparent, that would have never been known. But now I know. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed me running around still. And I can't believe we caught our first Pokemon today. I still got it. This is going to be a long journey. You know what I'm saying? This gameplay footage, man, sheesh. Watch the sun bleed. It's our time to go out while we watch the sun down. Watch the sun down. Watch the sun down. Watch the sun down, down, down. I got what I asked for, but I think it's never mine. We try to shine our own way, but the stars are not aligned. Laser on the heat, best bet you better hide. Said to do what's best, now my thoughts are on decline. Take a trip with me, we can share confessions. What's next for us? That's a loaded question. You go first, you have the best expressions. I'm looking up, now I see a dark sky heaven. Watch the sun bleed, it's our time to go out. While we watch the sun down, silent guy forever peace, now there's no doubt. While we watch the sun down, fears or hopes are gone, we don't know what that's about. While we watch the sun